Over the last couple of months, I've been receiving quite a few messages and emails in regards to Bushnell, the company that makes scopes, binoculars, and so on. Mainly, they are known for making optics. What everybody has been asking about are a line of tents that the company has recently brought to the market, or at least they thought was recently brought to the market. This is one of those tents. Every single product that I review here on the channel comes from your recommendations, and once I see there's enough interest in a product, I get it in to review it. I purchase it. After seeing that there's enough interest, I went on their website, started looking at their tents, and I came across a tent that looked very interesting to me. It's the Bushnell one-person bivy. In my opinion, based upon the limited pictures that are on the website, this tent looks to be a Snug Pack clone, a Snug Pack ionosphere clone. If you have been around on the channel for a while, you know that I really like that tent, but I can no longer recommend it because the price is so high. That is a very small tent made from polyester, and now the price is north of like $300, which makes no sense. If you go back in time a few years ago, you could pick up that tent for like 120 bucks, and now it's almost like $300 or more. That makes no sense for a polyester tent. Anyways, after seeing the one-person tent on the Bushnell website, I purchased it, and a few days later, it arrived. And here it is. After the very first email that I received concerning Bushnell tents, I was asking myself, why on earth is Bushnell making tents? That really does not make any sense. It would be like Apple making shoes or something like that. You know what I mean? Electronics company making shoes. You have Bushnell, which is an optics company, making tents. It doesn't add up. Two things caught my attention when the tent arrived. First off, inside of the box, the package was super small. The second thing that caught my attention was a shipping label that was underneath my shipping label. On that secondary shipping label that was underneath mine, it was addressed to a company that I had not heard of, but the name stood out. It was I2D Licensed Products. While I2D Licensed Products doesn't really say that much, at the same time, it says a ton about this tent. In a nutshell, that means that this is not a true Bushnell product. It's not a product that they developed themselves. This is a licensed product. What we have here is an outside company licensing the Bushnell name brand and slapping it on this product. And now, everything makes sense. That answers my original question. Why is Bushnell making tents? Well, guess what? They're not actually making tents. Someone has licensed the name. I promise you, there's much more concerning this story, and we'll talk more about it later on. For now, my friends, let's take a look at the I2D Licensed Products Bushnell one-person backpacking tent. Before we open up this tent and take a look at the components and we set it up, I want to talk about finding the information concerning this tent. In other words, finding the stats concerning this, because this has not been easy. First off, I went to the Bushnell website, that's where I ordered it, and the website says virtually nothing about this tent. They don't state the weight, they don't state the materials, they don't state the waterproof rating, nothing like that. What they do share are reviews taken from who knows where. They claim that these reviews come from customers who love this product, but yet there's no real reviews on this website. That's interesting. Another point that is interesting, the company claims that this tent uses something called a weather shield technology to waterproof it. The funny thing is this, they do not state what that technology is. Who knows? In other words, folks, it's marketing nonsense. These days, everything has to have a catchphrase in hopes of selling a product, and this Bushnell tent, the ID2 tent, is no different. With the additional research that I did, I was able to locate this tent on Amazon, and guess what? I overpaid. That certainly sucks, but luckily there's a little bit more information concerning this tent on there. Is it accurate? I do not know. I'm going to assume so, but we should all take the information that's stated on Amazon as far as the stats go for this tent with a grain of salt. Here in a minute, we'll go over the stats, but for now, let's take a look at this tent and let's see what's included. My friends, what we have here is the storage bag. We have a draw pull up here at the top. We have two compression straps. We have a grab handle, and we have a big old B down here at the bottom. That sounded weird. Here we have Bushnell one-person bivy tent printed across here. Now you may notice that the printing on this is done rather poorly. In fact, some of the lettering is missing. Is that foreshadowing the quality of this tent? Possibly so. As I pulled out the tent, this fell out as well. Really nice, folks. The company crumpled this up. Let's see if I can open this up without tearing it apart. I'm not sure what this is. Some sort of warning. Okay. So what we have here looks to be an instruction guide that was completely wadded up. That's how little this company cares. It says that this is part of the Roam series. It goes over the features and technology, including the weather shield, which does not explain what this is. Panoramic windows, gear storage, enhanced nighttime visibility. It's built tough. Look at this. Here are the instructions to set it up. Takedown instructions, FAQ, troubleshooting, and warranty. What is the warranty? It says it features a 12-month limited warranty. And it also says, do not return this product to the retail store. Here we have the tent. Very poor quality compression straps. Here we have the tent body. Here we have the fly. We have tent stakes, and we have poles. We have 2 pieces of white shock cord for some reason. And we have some tent stakes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's only 10 tent stakes here, but on the website it says 14 are included. Here we have the poles. They are aluminum. They're very thin, but they will get the job done. As you all can see, the tent has been set up. There's no fly on it yet. On the inside, you do have quite a bit of space. At the same time, you do have quite a bit of mesh. We have clips at the bottom for the pole, and we have sleeves up here at the top. We have one door, which is right here. It too is covered in mesh, and as you can see, it can be rolled back and tied up. After setting up this tent and looking at it, it is quite strange, in fact. The entire shape of the front here is weird, and because it's not in the center, it just offers a weird angle on the inside. So let's say that you're a taller individual, your head is going to be up here, but you can't sleep next to this. You have to be pushed over to the wall because this is at an angle, a very sharp angle. It's weird. It's really, really strange. Also, when it comes to the stakeout points, they too are strange. They look like they have been reinforced, but poor attention to detail has been made. So it's like you have the stakeout loop, and then behind that you have an additional loop where the material is not the same length, so it doesn't really pull tightly. It's kind of like a wad of straps. Again, that's strange. An additional oddity is this right here. What we have is a flashlight pocket on the outside of the tent. And I have to question whether or not this makes any sense. A flashlight pocket on the outside of the tent. Comment down below and share your thoughts. Something else about this tent, everybody, because of the way that it pitches so strangely in front, this top section doesn't actually lay flat against the ground. It's like raised up. It's weird. For the door, we have two-way zippers. Getting inside of the tent is easy enough. As you can see here, I can sit up, I can change clothes if I want to. Again, we have mesh down here at the footbox, mesh walls. It is partially meshed up here at the top. We have an O-ring above our head for hanging things, and we have one mesh pocket here on the side of the tent. This tent does feature a bathtub floor, and it has been seam taped. Realistically speaking, to be inside of this tent and to be comfortable, you need to be around 72 inches, which is 6 foot. And again, that's because of the way that the tent is sloped at the footbox and up here at the head. As far as width goes, we are looking at 36 inches, which is 3 feet. As far as height goes, at the tallest point, we are looking at 34 inches. The width of the footbox is 28 inches, and the height is 20.5 inches. To connect the fly to the tent body, we have buckles, and we also need tent stakes. We have the fly on. You can see that it's a bright whitish gray color and it has some orange accents. The fly basically goes down to the ground. We have a loop here to tie back this side of the door, and we have another loop on the other side to tie back this side of the door. We have this one loop here, which is for your guy line. And again, everybody, these are your guy lines. We have 2 pieces of shot cord. Again, my friends, this is an oddly designed tent. We have one placement here for a guy line, an elastic guy line at the front of the tent. There's not one at the bottom. Elastic does not make for a good guy line because it stretches so severely. Now, when it comes to the door, we have a center zip that has a storm flap over the zipper. Now, I noticed that there's no seam tape on the inside of the zipper there. So if any water makes it behind the storm flap, it will leak. This, my friends, is what the tent looks like with the doors rolled back. Before we go over the stats concerning this tent that I found, let's talk about one more weird aspect concerning this tent. On the fly, on the side, it says Bushnell. It also says 1 person, 8.5 feet long, 3 feet wide. For some reason, like that is so incredible, they had to print it on the side of the tent. It is now time to go over the stats concerning the Bushnell Bivy tent. This is a 1-person tent. The company claims this is a 3-season tent. It is non-freestanding, meaning it has to be staked out to be set up. When it comes to this tent being stored, the dimensions are 15 inches by 5 inches. The weight of this tent is 3.5 pounds. According to Amazon and its listing, this is made from a 68 denier ripstop 190T fly. It features a 150 denier polyester floor. The fly has a hydrostatic head rating of 600 and the floor 1500. The reason why I'm flabbergasted by that is this. A tent that features a 600 millimeter fly is not even considered to be water resistant. The bare minimum hydrostatic head rating for a 3-season tent is 1200. At 600 millimeters, this is a 2-season tent all day long. This is not a tent that should be used in the rain. A 600 millimeter hydrostatic head rating is not considered safe for camping purposes, meaning this tent is essentially a sun tent and nothing more. This is information that should be on the Bushnell website, but it's not, for obvious reasons, because if it was, people would not buy this tent. On Amazon, things are different because this information has to be displayed. That's why it's present on Amazon and it's not present on the Bushnell website. As far as the features go concerning this tent, again, the company claims it's 8.5 foot long. Technically, that is true if you measure the material, but the actual living space inside of this tent is much less than that. Again, if you're around 6 foot, this is going to work. If you're taller than that, it may not. And that's again because of the weird shape of the front of this tent. The taller you are, the more that your head is going to be in this point, but the walls are weirdly shaped, weirdly angled. The retail price of this tent is $120. On Amazon at the time of filming, it is on sale for 90 bucks. And that takes us over to my impressions of this tent so far. Folks, do not buy this tent. First off, this tent feels like the cheapest tent I have ever tested out. Just as cheap as the Ozark Trail, what was that, the backpacking 1-person bivy tent. Just as cheap, if not cheaper than Stan Sport tents. All of those tents from all of those companies are pure garbage. This feels to be the exact same. The setup process is rather easy. The quality is not bad for what it is. I have seen some loose threads, but nothing detrimental. As far as the size goes, it's not what the company claims. I was scratching my head thinking, why would you want a tent that's 8.5 foot long? It's not really 8.5 foot long. You do not have 8.5 feet of livable, usable space. The tent does feature a flashlight holder, and that one has me scratching my head. A flashlight holder on the outside of the tent. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Comment down below, share your thoughts. As far as the door goes, it's nice and large, easy to get in and out of. The tent does feature plenty of mesh. The fly does go down to the ground, but there is some separation there between the body and the fly itself, so ventilation should be okay at best. Condensation's still going to be an issue with this tent. As far as the guy line placement goes, very strange. There's one at the front, there's not one at the back, but yet we received 2 shot-corded guy lines. That's weird as well. The reason we got shot-corded guy lines is because that must be super, super cheap. Getting in and out of the tent is not bad. Again, the front of the tent is raised slightly weird because of the cut of the tent itself, but luckily the door is large. There is no vestibule space inside of this tent, and that needs to be considered. If you're 6 foot tall or under, you could put your gear up at the top in that point, and that would work. But if you're above 6 foot, your gear is going to have to go outside, and you will need to figure out a way to protect it. With that being said, the odds are this tent is not going to be waterproof because the hydrostatic head rating is so low. Again, we're talking about 2-season tent territory. This is a sun tent. This is a tent for very nice weather. $120 is the retail price. It's $90 on sale at the time of filming on Amazon. For $90, you can get a tent that is so much better than this. You do not have to buy a tent that is made with the cheapest of the cheapest polyester materials like what we have here. The fabric on the floor feels like paper, and so does the fabric on top. This is an extremely cheap tent that probably costs around $20 to make. Seriously, this polyester material is super inexpensive. So there's no way this is worth 120 bucks. There's no way that this is worth $90, especially for a tent that features a 600 millimeter hydrostatic head rating. Again, everybody, this product here is in Bushnell name only. A company that licensed the name designed it and had it manufactured. There's a huge difference between a product that's designed by a certain company and a product that is licensed by a company. And you can see that here. The quality of this, the design of this, so much of this simply does not make sense. Now, speaking of things that do not make sense, let's talk about the reviews on Amazon for this tent. So after I purchased this tent from the Bushnell website, the tent arrived. I started looking for more information about it so I could film this episode. I couldn't find anything. So I went over to Amazon, punched in Bushnell one-person tent. I found it on there, and I found some information. The thing that surprised me, though, was that this tent had 4-star ratings from the majority of the reviews. And I want to say it had like 50-something reviews. After feeling just how cheap this tent was, I did a search on sites that analyze reviews on Amazon, at Walmart, and so on. They look for deception. And guess what? This tent here features a D rating. And it also has a warning concerning those reviews. There's a high level of deception detected for this tent with the reviews that are present. Over 54% of the reviews for this tent are absolutely fake. Once you take out the fake reviews, this tent has a 2-star rating. In other words, the people who have actually purchased this tent, who have actually tested it out, those who have actually used it, do not like it. It has a 2-star rating out of 5. Now, my friends, let's talk about this company, I2D Licensed Products. This stands for Insight to Design. And this is basically what the company does. They make licensing deals with big companies, big corporations, and they take those logos and they slap them on their own products. And we're talking about tents, backpacks, we're talking about flashlights, and so on. As I said before, I was surprised to learn that Bushnell was making tents. Well, guess what? They're not really making tents. They've licensed their name, and that's it. Now, this does say quite a bit about Bushnell. They're willing to do just about anything to make money, including putting their name on products that are complete garbage. Again, this is not a real Bushnell product. In fact, you cannot even take this back to a Bushnell store to return it. You have to deal with a warranty or a return online. Bushnell is not going to take it back, and that's because they didn't make it. This company, I2D, they claim to work with Columbia, 511, Bushnell. These are the biggest names of the companies that they work with. They also have other business partners which you may have heard of. Generally, these companies have poor reputations. Outdoor Products, Academy Sports and Outdoors, Magellan Outdoors, and Ozark Trail. With all of that being said, this is where we stand concerning this tent. I am going to begin testing this out, and I'm going to do this with an open mind. Even though I'm not impressed at all, I purchased this thinking one thing. I was basically being deceived. What I received is something completely different. Again, I'm going to test this out with an open mind, and I'm going to share with you all the good and bad. As I test this out, you will see whether or not it's waterproof. You're going to see whether or not it has other issues. If it turns out that it's an amazing tent, I will say so, and I'll eat my words. At the same time, I promise you, if this is a piece of shit, I'm going to say so. And already, there's a lot here that is complete garbage, complete bunk. In fact, I would almost say it's fraudulent. This is a product that was made for a very inexpensive price and sold at a high dollar price tag, using the name of a company that does have some clout in the outdoor space. My advice for anyone watching this episode: do not purchase this tent. In fact, I would not purchase any Bushnell tents, as all of them, from my understanding, were developed by this company, I2D. At the same time, I would be wary of purchasing any products made for other companies by this company here. That includes Columbia, 511, and so on. How are you supposed to know that what you're purchasing is a true product from one of those companies, or is it from I2D? Luckily, in this case, there was the shipping label there. If it wasn't for the shipping label, I doubt I would have ever noticed. Folks, this episode has gone on for long enough. I know I've said a lot about this tent. In the end, I do not recommend that you purchase this. There's a lot of deception going on here. There's a lot that I'm not impressed with. There's a lot here to be actually concerned about. And for myself, personally, I will second guess purchasing a Bushnell product in the future because of this tent here. Obviously, we have two companies going into bed together to make a quick buck, and what they're offering is an inferior product. I've taken my hard-earned money, I purchased this tent, I'm going to test it out so nobody else has to. So make sure to stay tuned to the Outdoor Gear Review where more updates concerning this tent will be coming up. I will have a rain test coming up very soon with this tent, and together we will test it out. We will see together how waterproof this tent is. Or maybe it's not waterproof. That's what I personally suspect. Make sure to comment down below and share your thoughts. What do you all think about this tent here? The Bushnell one-person bivy tent. It's the I2D Bushnell tent, folks. You can't make this stuff up. So strange. All right, everybody. I really do appreciate you all. Before you go, hit the thumbs up. It does help the channel. Again, this channel is agenda-free. The purpose of the Outdoor Gear Review is to share information concerning outdoor products and to be honest about it. This channel has never had a sponsor. I've never done a paid review. My thoughts are my own, and I do not care if you buy this tent or if you don't. The purpose of this channel is to share information, and that is it. Everybody, be well, take care, strength and honor. Bye for now.